Hey everybody, this is KD2TFJ, Chris here, doing a video on APRS, and this is for my friends my friend actually, out in Georgia. I can't remember his call sign right now, and anybody else for that matter that want to get into doing their APRS. So today, actually yesterday, I received my anytone um, 878 walkie-talkie in the mail. Also, I received my hotspot. So I want to be doing a video on that as well. But this video is more latent to APRS GPS on any radio, but this is primarily for anytone. But you can this is using APRS is the same virtual structure anywhere you go, any CPS that you're using. Right now, I'm using the CPS that came from Bridgecom because that's where I got my walkie-talkie. But you can find Anytone's CPS anywhere now. A lot of sites are carrying their programming, and it's very easy. Okay. So I just started doing this is the programming for my Anytone 878. So pretty simple. You start off with a few things that you want to have personally done. So I want to go from the stuff that you need to do so that it works and the stuff that is based on what your comfort or what you want for it to do. Now, as you can see at the very top, it says manual transmission interval. So if you press the key up button, the push to talk button, you will, and use it on your APRS channel, you're going to be able to send a packet at any time. But in order to space it out, I would say you're not going to sit there and constantly key it up every minute or every second, right? So you can put as many the time interval that it would actually send the packet when you key it up. So let's say you do it right now, and I key it up and I send a packet. I can do that again and again and again, but you don't want to keep on doing that. So what I typically would do is say, give it a space of about 2 minutes, because walkie-talkies, let's say you're walking around, that's what a walkie-talkie is, and a mobile radio is. It's not like a base station where you're fixed in a position. When you have a walkie-talkie or a mobile radio in your vehicle, like I do, I have my 578 in the vehicle, you're going to want, let's say you're moving around, you're driving, you want it to send out a packet every so often so that it's actually showing where you are, because when you're driving and or walking, your location is constantly changing. So especially if you're driving, and I noticed just playing around with my APRS on my the 578 when I'm driving, if it doesn't have it I'll say about every 2 minutes. If you can do less than that, I'll say while you're driving, let's say you're in the interstate or something like that, I'll say about every 2 minutes at the very least, because I noticed that it doesn't know where I'm at after a while. So your track where you're going, let's say you're on an interstate or something like that, the faster it sends out a packet, the more it knows exactly where you are, and it's able to plot exactly where you were as you're driving, so that other people can see where you actually drove to and stuff like that. So that's how the fun comes around having APRS. So people and even yourself can see, oh, this is where we drove. This is, so and exactly where you were at a certain time interval. So I would put it on at least 2 minutes. If you're driving really far, I'll say even less, because you might want to have a good plot of where you were. And in 1 minute, you're going to probably end up really far down the road. And if you don't have it plotting, it's going to jump over certain locations, because it's not really getting your information down every so often. So as you're driving, you're getting several miles down the road. It's not going to really show where you were. It's just going to throw a line over a whole long distance and then plot it again where you did send a packet. So I'll say about 2 minutes is a good, reasonable a lot of time for most situations. So let's go down from there. This is APR is automatically. So you can, like I said, you can have it automatically. The first one is if you keying it up automatically, I'll say at least a minute. See, now I love it on at least a minute when I'm driving. Maybe 2 minutes depending on what you're doing, but I say just about a minute so that it automatically sends out a packet and plots where you are. Now you could do it a little bit longer than that if you're walking. If you're walking, you're not really going that far. Maybe 2 minutes or maybe even more than that will be okay. It depends on what you're doing. If you're backpacking, you're on going trails and stuff like that. You might be on a four wheeler or mountain biking. I know a lot of mountain bikers and a lot of hikers that are into APRS because it helps them find where they are. Okay, so coming back to the first two things you can program or have changed is your manual transmission interval and your APRS auto transmission interval. And like I was saying, you can have it at least 2 minutes depending on what your activity is and your own preference. It's up to you. Now let's go down to the next thing, support for roaming. Now some people can use that depending on what repeater is closer, because you do have to do one thing that's going to come in a few more steps. So I have mine set for off. That's going to come is going to come into play in a few seconds. Okay, so the fixed location. That's for people that have a spot where they are not going anywhere. As you can see on this one, this came preset with the longitude and latitude. This could be a base station, or if you're going to use your walkie-talkie in a spot and you're not really moving. Let's say you're on a farm. You might not be moving too far away from where you are. So then you might want to keep it that way. Base stations, definitely. Base stations is going to be a fixed location. You're not going anywhere. And you don't need it to be moved around with GPS and stuff like that. So that's what that is going to come into play with the next step down right below. You don't need none of that if you're using a walkie-talkie and GPS, because you're more than likely going to be moving around, right? Okay. Let's go down to the bottom, the next thing. At the bottom here, I'm going to try to get it to focus down there. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is where the bottom right under all of that was for analog. Now this does do digital APRS as well, but we're working on analog right now. Okay, so the APRS transmission tone, I keep it off because I don't want to hear a tone every time it sends a beacon. Most people keep it off. So let's go down from there. Okay, right here, where you see my cursor at, KEA2A 10, because that all goes together actually. KEA2A is the call sign for a repeater, the Kings County Radio Club repeater out here in Brooklyn, New York. It is absolutely necessary so that you have a packet going to a destination. I tried my 578 without having a destination call sign. It did not work. It sent the packet, but it didn't get anywhere. So I found out the hard way by, I guess you could say, just playing around with it. You have to have a destination for your APRS. Now, depending on where you are, let's say you drove out and let's say you drove really far and you're using your walkie-talkie, or you're using your mobile or something like that, and you get too far away from let's say you using like right now I'm in Brooklyn right now, I'm using the Kings County Radio Club, which is not too far from me, right? Let's say you go outside that area. The best way to find the call sign for a repeater is to actually go to the APRS website, which is aprs.fi. And I'm going to try to find myself. It's funny. I'm not going to be able to find myself because I am outside of my area. I don't have my vehicle on, and it's not going to show me right now. So I am located right now somewhere in this area right about here. And these are all different people that have the APRS on. You see that little antenna tower right there? That is the Kings County Radio Club's tower. Information is here. And right up here, it shows you from the left right here, it shows you the receive information. And right here, it says KEA2A-10. If you can, in your area, look on the APRS website and find a repeater that looks just like that. It's going to look the same. Most of the repeaters have that same thing. You will be able to find the call sign for that repeater. And there's other ways to find it as well. But if that's one of my easiest ways. I was like, oh, I need a call. Let me see if I put a call sign and see if that works. And as soon as I put the call sign in there, saved it, sent out a beacon, I was automatically popped up on the map. Before that, I was not getting anywhere. I was trying to figure it out. It just didn't work. Nothing worked. It just didn't come up. And I didn't realize that you must have a destination for that, for your beacon to go to, because it's not going to come up. I just didn't have anything pop up. So that's something that you definitely need. A destination, call sign, repeater, and you'll put the numeric up here, and then the down here you will put the call sign destination SSID at the bottom. So it will come together. Anywhere else you'll see something like this, KEA2A, and then you're going to have a dash and a number. So this program has it right out under it. It doesn't go up here. So don't put the all of that together at the same time when it says destination call sign. Do not put the -10 up here. I don't think it works that way. Because it asks for it underneath that. Of course, you put your call sign. Right? I put my call sign. Other than everything else underneath that, and then your SSID as well. Now, because I have a mobile and a walkie-talkie, the mobile is -9. That shows up on the map as -9 because it's going to be, I'm a mobile. I'm going to be in my mobile, right? So, and then the other one is -7, which is internationally, mostly, I believe internationally means that you're walkie-talkie. So you're on foot or something like that. Not in a mobile, not in the base station. Okay? Then down here is the symbol. Now, I'm going to go, you can go on Google and find you could put in APRS signs or symbols, and it will pop up this little thing, the chart that shows you what two things shows. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, back to where I was at. APRS symbol. I'm going to show you, if I'm not going to go into that because then I have to open up the site and go into how you do the symbols. There's a whole bunch of different symbols that Google, you can find on Google. It will show you a way to show what you're going to be on your APRS as a symbol. Okay, next thing that I would say you have to do is APRS signal path. Now, I put wide 2-2, not 1-1. And that's just the easiest part. I just use wide 2-2. I don't know if wide 1-1 actually still works, but if it does, it I don't know. I didn't use it that way. I saw on YouTube somebody use 2-2, and mine's in my mobile is actually working. All right, so you're going to go over to the right. This all this up here to the top, you leave it alone because that's all digital information. Being that we just use an analog. The next thing, the frequency. In the U.S., and I'm not sure if it's other U.S. territories, but in the U.S. it's 144.39. 390. That's for us in the United States. Everything else down here, you can leave alone because I don't believe any of this I touched. And I think you can change the CSS and stuff like that. And it depends on your situation. Most people leave that alone, and I did, so I'm not touching it. The last thing that you have to worry about in the APRS programming is if you want, you don't have to do the last thing down there. It's a message that's going to pop up on your when somebody clicks on your icon on the APRS page that I just showed you. You can put anything there, and I put down check out my YouTube channel, and I put my name and my call sign, and that is my YouTube channel. If you already know that, because most people are here already, right? Okay. So that's it. And I'm going to refocus up here because one thing that you have to do prior to this, and I'm going to try to get there, is go to tools, right? And let me see, not import, options. That shows you, I did this already on mine, but when you first get the radio, if you didn't touch this, make sure you have GPS set. I got a Bluetooth, so I got that set. I just clicked all of this, and APRS definitely set at the bottom because that you want all of this, and I want all of these just available to me no matter. I don't want to keep on coming back and forth to check, and it just have these all checked. So you got to go to options for that. After that, I want to do the okay. So let's do a channel, right? This is a channel. I'm going to make a channel. It's not going to be channel 1. Let's see. Maybe I'll have this one out here on channel 11, right? So from here, easy as pie. You're just setting up a channel for APRS, right? So I'm just going to put caps APRS. Nope, I don't like it like that. So I'm going to put down, let's say, analog. APRS. All right, that looks good, right? And then you go to the frequency. 144.39. And then let's tab it. Go down to the next one, the received, same thing, 144.3900. Okay. This is not a digital channel. This is an analog channel. Transmit power. This radio can go up to turbo. I will keep it on. I will put it on turbo just because you wanted the signal to be as high as it can, and I believe that's about 6 watts of power on the radio. Everything else is. I think this should be analog. So that's analog. APRS report type. I want to put analog. It says analog APRS push to talk mode. Push to talk. I would do end of transmission. That's the next thing down the line here when you're in the channel program. Analog. It says analog APRS push to talk mode. I don't know if it ever works on. At the time you push the button, I heard a lot of people say that it doesn't work correctly when you have it so that it's on, when you push it, it automatically sends it out. Mine is once I release, it sends it out. It works fine. So I will put it like that just for the hell of it, right? And I'm not going to do anything else from there down. I don't need anything down here at all when it comes to Some people actually put on encode, I mean a decode, but I don't think that I don't. You don't need it. Some people just don't like hearing everything else on the band coming over. Okay. Radio ID. I want to have to put in my radio ID information. So I'm going to come back to this in a second. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to make that channel. And then I have to go down to digital. And I'm going to put my radio information here. This is definitely not mine. This is just came with the radio. And I'm going to put my information here. I'll be back. I'm going to show you how it works at the end of this part, because this is actually the end of it. I'm just going to put my radio information in, my radio ID, which is my DMR radio ID information. I'm not going to show it because I don't want nobody else to steal mines. I guess you can do it. I guess I can show it because it shows up on the registry anyway. So I just hope that nobody sees it on the air, on this, and then starts using it. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, so I put my radio ID information in. The radio name, I just want to put Chris1, just for the heck of that. So let's go back to channels, and we're going to go back into that here. So it's automatically going to show there. It's darkened out. It doesn't need to be picked up. It doesn't have any other stuff to worry about. So now this is done. So that's one thing down when it comes to your APRS. So this should work fine. I'm going to put in some more code plugs. I'm going to do some code plugging. I'm also working on my hotspot here that I also received in the mail with the radio at the same time. I've ordered both of these because I want to have my digital working with me when I'm out and about. Of course, this is definitely going to come into play because let's say I'm away from a repeater. I don't want to have to constantly reorganize, go through all these code plugs, making up code plugs based on where I'm at and different repeaters. And right now I'm good on a repeater from where I'm at. My mobile radio, is way more powerful. It goes up to 50 watts. I can get to the repeater in Brooklyn or in most areas pretty easily with my mobile radio. But if I'm outside the area, let's say I want to take a road trip, I'm going further away, I'm outside of that coverage area, I don't want to have to deal with having more code plugs and more repeaters and zones and stuff like that. I'd rather have just a few zones, few areas, and if I'm using my hotspot, as long as I have my cell phone on, I'm gonna have that using my internet off my cell phone or whatever, a hotspot or whatever the heck you have. Just say you have a hotspot and you travel with it, you're not using your cell phone. Most people use their cell phones, but if you have a hotspot or something that you can use from a phone carrier, whatever you have, you don't want to have to deal. You can use that and not have to deal with constantly worrying about different zones, different repeaters, and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it here. If anybody has any questions about APRS, of course, you can definitely leave a comment. I'm always usually on New York Metro, listening in to New York Metro. So if you want to chat with me on the air, that's where I'm typically at. Of course, subscribe and give me a thumbs up, support the channel and support the hobby. We definitely need more people that's enthusiastic and that loves to use, the hobby in emergency situations or just have it as fun talking to people. I use it in both preferences. I am an emergency worker. I work at the American Red Cross. And I use it for both emergencies and just to be able to talk to people all over the world, the country. Thank you for watching, and I do have more videos coming up, so put a bell for notifications, and you'll be able to see and watch the latest videos that I post. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.